Well, now it's time to wrap up and take your career and your life to great levels. The American dream is alive and well. Some people say not anymore. That's a bunch of crap. It's alive and well, except it must be earned. You've taken a significant step forward. You do an extracurricular activity to get ahead. Note to self, that's a smart way to live your life. Now it's time to take what you've learned and put it into action. And remember, actions, positive or negative, repeated over time, forms habits. So you've got a great positive habit here, or many positive habits that you can go ahead and put together and crescendo them towards amazing success. But first, I would really be remiss if I didn't say thank you. I'm honored that you took this course. Been working on it for decades, and I've been at guest lectures, many campuses, first-year experience, also college courses, and putting all that together. And the fact that you took this means a lot to me. Thank you. At Learn, Earn, Retire, we have a mantra internally. It's not about us. It's about them. And as in them is the emerging generation, but specifically right now, it's about you. Our objective is that you get off to a stronger start because you took this class, both on your career side and your financial and wealth building side. To get more out of transitions, make sure you review all the chapters. Build out the workbooks. See what links are helpful. And then make this material your own. You know, you've got lots that you can dig into and build upon what you've learned here. And that's really what it's all about. All of the links and resources are consolidated in one place in Chapter 17. So like in Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, it was just specific, the workbook to those areas, the links to those areas. But if you go into Chapter 17, this chapter, you can go ahead and have everything in one place. So I hope that helps you. You have learned to view the road ahead more holistically. You see a broader horizon than most people do. Most people are in a silo or a funnel, and they're saying, well, I got to graduate, got to get a job. And you're looking more broadly. You're looking from your campus years to your career years and through to retirement and wealth creation. Bravo. This is a great vantage point. But you know something? The majority of your peers, they haven't thought about this stuff. Well, what does that mean if most people aren't thinking about this stuff? It means for you, you've gained advantage. You've also learned, regrettably, most are ill-prepared for a strong start. At the first job, look at all the stuff you know now to go ahead and get off to an incredible start. But most people are going to go ahead and wing it. Go with the flow, if you will. Trial and error. And they think more deeply about it, a material like this, as they enter their 40s. Not you. Oh, not you. And bravo for that. You've also learned you got to be mindful of two trajectories. You hear this over and over again: career, personal wealth, and personal economics. You've learned that everything that we've taught is totally within your ability to implement. If you try, if you dedicate yourself. Now it's up to you to set some goals from here and incorporate what you've learned into a plan, and then build upon these skills and make them your own. And in a sense, it's all about engagement. How bad do you want to overachieve? How bad do you want to be successful? Of critical importance, and boy, we've hammered this home, you cannot squander your 20s. These are highly consequential years. And that means early engagement's essential. We gave you examples on that. But now you got to put it into action. It's just a notion when you listen to it on a course like this. You put it into action, and then you get a more powerful life. And the moment is now. So let's get specific. your brand? What do you bring to the marketplace? And not from your perspective, but from an employer's perspective, a hiring employer's perspective. What do you bring to the marketplace? And is what you bring more formidable, more desirable? Is it constantly developing over time? This is all fueled by lifelong learning and being constantly curious. Well, that goes ahead and means I should go into something else. Or what do they say about that? I want to dig deeper there, and get out and find that material and feed your head. You want to deliver in a big way. Are your accomplishments, let's say in the last year, notable and braggable? If not, you got work to do. To pull this off and to stand out, you got to feed your head daily. Say on your morning commute to work, or while you're working out, or whenever it works for you. You want to get a diet of putting good information into your head that you can go ahead and implement in your career. Things like blogs, books, both traditional and audio books. Strongly suggest, we went through this before, you go to Audible and you get a book and you're doing a book a month. And it's giving you great advantage, and we've given you lots of things in the links and resources that can go ahead and start a really powerful, reading list. Seminars, webinars, conferences. This is lifelong learning. You have to have an insatiable appetite to go ahead and get better and smarter every day. And moving on to your network, as we covered, this is a critical career asset. And to make it more formidable is powerful because it makes you more formidable. So who do you network with? Overachievers. I think in life there's two types of people. There's pedestrians and there's sprinters. You want to hang out with the sprinters. Those are the people you want to network with, you want to hang out with, including those who are dreaming as big as you or have risen professionally to places you're dreaming of getting to. And follow network operating procedure. Chapter 5. Look that up. Take those steps. It'll serve you well. And do it step by step until it becomes habit. And that will give you great advantage. And finally, it's not about how many contacts you have in your network that counts. It's the quality of those contacts that do. Then we move into searching for a job. You must always be ready to job search. You will have more jobs than previous generations. Remember, Heidrick and Struggles thinks that, Kelly Kay, one of the executives with that global search and strategy firm, they say internal studies, 17 plus jobs. So if you're blindsided by job loss, you want to be ready. A perpetually improving brand, notable professional accomplishments, a strong and organized network, professional search material like your resume, your LinkedIn profile, cover letters, all of that stuff. And remember, jobs are seldom careers these days. Rather, they're 2 to 4 year career stepping stones. And if that's the case, and it is, then it's imperative to become great at job search itself. To develop and fortify your skills and to expand opportunity in front of you. If you're in college as you're listening to this, do 6 informational interviews per semester. We walked you through that. Go ahead and take a look back in the course and dig in. Attend all of your career fairs. And with that, do 2 things. You expand opportunity and you enhance your job search skills themselves, because every time you deploy them, you get stronger and stronger and stronger. And they're not as daunting. They're more familiar as you get deeper into your career. If you're early in your working career, so you've left college, seek overachievers in your field. and hang out with them. Applaud their success. Mimic them. Serve them. See if there's a way you can help them, because then they can help you, and try to learn from them. It is important to note what the marketplace is hungry for. When you see somebody get promoted, or they've hired somebody new to come into the organization for a key position, try to determine their professional attributes. Why did they get that gig? And do an honest assessment of yourself. And how do you measure up between you and what this person just brought to the table? Because, boy, you would like to rise to those levels. And that is where you focus some of your time and energy on lifelong learning. And if you get blindsided, which happens in everybody's career, with unexpected disruption of employment, turn to chapter 10, along with your workbook and notes from that session. And get your quest for a new job rolling. The only objective you have, if you were to say get laid off, you were blindsided, is to get a job better than the one you just lost. And you want that search to get off to a strong start, and boy, you can do it. And you're equipped with a dynamite framework now. Every time you engage with it, you'll get better and stronger. Your macro goal? Maintain continuous employment over the arc of your career. That's optimum, because big periods of unemployment can do a career a lot of harm. But you don't want to jump into a bad opportunity, so you want to go ahead and be able to conjure up and cultivate choices that will help you be really successful. Knowing full well it becomes harder to maintain employment when you're in your 50s and 60s. And be ahead of that. And most people need the earnings in their 50s and 60s to solidify their financial independence. So this is critical that you go into a good head of steam as you're working through your working career. And would you be the last to go in a layoff? I mean, think about it. If all of a sudden, the strongest people don't get canned in a layoff. So what they do is they kind of thin the herd a little bit, if you want. So in a layoff, would you be the last to go? If not, figure out how you become that formidable. You always want to ask your managers when you're sitting down in those one-on-one sessions, what can you do to be better? And do some probing and get that information and then act upon it. And then help the team that you're on. You want that team to become better, even if they don't report. Maybe there's no incentive for you to do that, but you do it anyway because you're building a more formidable company. You help with new hires. Everyone's overwhelmed when they're starting. As you become more entrenched in the new job, if you help others get started, bravo to you. This stuff gets noticed, and it cements you as a leader. And then be wise with the money you earn. Live underneath your means so that you'll have the funds to build and maintain that emergency account, to fully fund retirement. And remember a key point. If you want to spend for an expense or a depreciating asset and you cannot pay cash for it, ready? You can't afford it. So save and then buy when you can afford it with cash. Develop strong habits of economic defense, being wise with that money that you're earning. I'm going to list the examples. We can go back to chapter 13, and you can certainly expand upon that list what millionaires next door don't do. We went into deep detail in the course, and you can certainly take beyond that. But that's beyond that. That's the metaphor will get you to where you need to be. So be attuned to that. And most people, as they become economically successful, they are terrific at playing economic defense, and it's a way of life. This is another area where getting this right early in your career matters. You'll form great habits, and they'll serve you well. Is this how your friends are going to live? Generally not. But most of them, many of them, are headed to broke town because that's what the masses do. Remember, we took a look at those averages. And then build and execute upon the plan to build substantial wealth and then financial independence. In your mid-20s, you should be putting 15% of your gross income into wealth creation. I didn't say your early 20s. I said your mid-20s. You want to get to that as soon as you can. You might not be able to start at that, but you'll get there over time. And it'd be great if you could put the employer match on top of that 15%, especially in the beginning. You get that snowball effect, and you get the Angelina effect from the twin sisters exercise. Implement the 6 steps in chapter 15. 6 steps to financial independence. Take those seriously. But at minimum, you want to sock 12% away. Remember the experts say 12 to 15% minimum. So you could do that by 6% of your gross income. And if, let's say, the employer was going to match 6%, 100% of the first 6% that you put into the 401k, so there's another 6 and 6 or 12. But that's the very minimum. I want to challenge you to get to 15%, especially early on. If you were going to cut back to 12%, you can do it later in your career, but you want to get that snowball working for you. 12% is the basement. You can go ahead and run the student retirement calculator and see the differences for yourself. But warning, if you follow these lessons, and it's likely that your friends will drive a nicer car than you early on. They're probably going to live in a little bit nicer of an apartment than you early on. They might be dining out at nicer restaurants earlier than you. But others will be building debt, not building a buffer like an emergency fund, not fully funding retirement and wealth creation, and not having a plan. That's kind of normal. And they don't harness the full power of compound interest. You, on the other hand, are going to go ahead and pull this off, and bravo for that. See, a set of long-term goals, so exciting that part of you kind of can't believe it. I mean, I could have millions of dollars in net worth. Millions? Could I? The answer is yes. You just got to get on the right side of these dynamics. And you need to constantly be building career skills where you stand out early on. From the very early moments, you got to throw the afterburners on and push like crazy in order to go ahead and differentiate yourself early on. There's no time to kind of coast or to find yourself. No way. And you're building a solid financial future. And compound interest working for you versus working against you, when we've gone through those examples. This whole course was designed to enhance those 2 trajectories: career, personal economics, which is also wealth creation. Most of success is in your head. At least it begins there. So the question, how big is your dream? At this stage of your life, if your dreams don't frighten you a bit, they're not big enough. Push yourself. If you're going to sleep at night, you're thinking about, what you want to do with your career and your life, and maybe you shared that goal of what you want to do with a friend, and now you're thinking about that, and then doubt starts to creep in. How am I ever going to pull that off? Well, that's terrific, because you're on track. And if this is not you, then get your thinking up. Dream bigger. There was this legendary chief executive officer of ITT named Hal Janine. He wrote a great book called Managing. He had a 3-sentence formula on success in business. And I think this applies to you. Please listen to Janine's words. 1, you read a book from front to back. 2, you run a business the opposite way. 3, you begin with the end, and then you do everything you must to reach it. Not everything you have time for, not everything you should, not everything everyone else does, everything you must to reach it. It's for you too. Take your dream, then reverse engineer from that dream to where you are today. And make steady progress, step by step. And if you get knocked down, just get back up. Be relentless. You can do this. Becoming very successful is an intentional act. Others may, attempt to slow you down. Even subconsciously, they don't even see themselves doing that. But family and friends can question you if you're really going into this abnormal warp speed of seizing the day in your 20s. And they offer seemingly loving advice. Hey, you don't want to become a workaholic. Remember to slow down and smell the roses, or that kind of stuff. Because your dream is so big, you're working so hard, that very focus that's serving you threatens them. I call this slow down, you're passing me by, and I don't feel like walking any faster syndrome. Just carry on. You're launching your career and you're getting the trajectory right. Try not to hang out with naysayers. They're going to bring you down. This is why it's critical to interact with those who are of like mindset. None of what we learned, again, is outside of your ability to execute upon it. What can be elusive is your own dedication to start and persist, as in now. This is why it's essential to build on these lessons. Not next week, not next month, now, as in tonight. Why you weren't taught this stuff in middle school, high school, or college is mind-blowing to me. But what does that mean to you? It means that you have to attend to this level of learning by yourself because it doesn't come in formal education. Some places, maybe it's rarity that it does, but by and large, no. And expose yourself to narratives that will support your success. Certainly, we want to help. Learn and Retire wants to help, but you need to cultivate other sources and then share them with our community. And finally, success is a byproduct of hard work. That's how you get ahead. You work really hard. With that in mind, I want to close with a story. This is from the late, great Zig Ziglar. He was a motivational speaker and an author. And this is a metaphor for the ages. As Zig tells the story, he worked in a grocery store in Yazoo City, Mississippi when he was young. The Depression was on, inventories were limited, and merchants frequently ran out of stock. As a result, merchants would borrow from each other until their next shipment came in. Zig was the runner for his store, and Charlie Scott was the runner for the grocery store across the street. On countless occasions, Charlie would run into Zig's store and he'd call out to Zig's boss, Mr. Anderson, "I need to borrow a half dozen cans of tomatoes." Mr. Anderson would always respond, "Well, Charlie, you know where they are. Now go get them." Charlie would run to the back, put the cans in his apron, run back up to the register, scribble his name on the receipt, and then run back to his store. One day, Zig asked his boss, "Why is Charlie always running?" "Well, that's easy, Zig." Mr. Anderson said, "Charlie is working on getting a raise, and he's going to get it." Zig asked Mr. Anderson, "How did he know that?" Mr. Anderson replied, "I know he's going to get a raise because if the man he's working for now doesn't give it to him, I will." This is exactly how the marketplace works. How hard you hit it early on will form habits and momentum that will serve as the wind to your back throughout your career. If you're excited about what you've learned and you want to put it into action and earn the life advantage it promises, How you follow through, how you stay true to that ambition will determine how firmly you're on track. Now get out there and be great. Again, thank you. Good luck, and may God bless you. Till next time.